Well, you know, it's live at 7:05. That's what we do, Rick.
Facebook.
I liked it on Facebook.
Follow us on Twitter. INSiiGHTS.
Yeah.
2 I's in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. Here we go. What's
Boy.
up? What's up? What's up?
That's my man right there, Rick Brown. Knocks him down, the man. From before I even go anywhere. What's going on? You gonna be a Washington Generals or no name? They get ready to sell the team. You get ready to be happy now, ain't you? You gonna have a football team?
I cannot confirm nor deny that, and I will not get excited until this magical mystical sale takes place, and then we can talk. But I got my good eye, the left one. I got the good eye looking, keeping an eye on it.
Man, hey, Rick, how much is he selling it for?
$6 billion. After purchasing the franchise for $800,000 in 1999.
800 million or 800,000?
800 million.
Okay.
He's going to make a pretty penny even after taxes and all the shenanigans he has to sell off. He's going to make over 5 billion.
Good.
Billion. I'm in the wrong business.
Rick.
That's a racket. I'm in the wrong business.
For sure. Good grief.
But
Wow.
yeah, I'm a little antsy. I'm not excited yet, but I'm smiling a little bit.
You got reason to smile. Let's say now, hey, you'll have a franchise to cheer for, huh? Rather than everybody who plays against Dallas.
Yeah, I mean that was fun, but for going on 7 years, man, it gets tiring. I mean, because Dallas is going to do what it does, lose. So it's just hard to keep on this. I mean, I feel too giddy at the end. It's just I need to be a fan again of football.
But Rick,
Yeah,
I
what's up, man?
understand that. I was a Cleveland Brown fan. They left Cleveland in the middle of the night and went to Baltimore with sellouts. 88,000 people in Cleveland Municipal Stadium. And that thing got so ugly. If you were a Baltimore Ravens fan and wore something downtown Cleveland, they jumped on you, took it off of you, and burned it.
Nice.
Hey, I ain't had no problem with that. Rick, I didn't have no problem with that. So we have we did something on St. Augustine High.
Yeah.
Back in New Orleans, all male school, all black Catholic, 100% graduation rate and placement in college. They are raising money hand over foot at their different alumni groups. Their high school alumni raise more money than most college alumni and support groups do. I'm so proud of what they do that it's just really amazing to me. And they actually keep in touch with us, sending us stuff, and we're gonna just have to go through and kind of bring people up to date on what's going on. You remember,
They
you
that
remember the
story
kid?
is interesting.
It,
That
it,
it's amazing, Coach, and the people, all the people that's come out of there and gone on to be the judges and lawyers and doctors and community leaders and just everyday fine citizens, and just and the pride they have for their high school is I don't think this is hyperbole by saying that it's unmatched because I haven't seen it in my lifetime from any high school, not like this, not to this extent.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Nationwide. They have alumni fundraisers in LA, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Chicago. I mean, they have serious fundraisers. And when you have something like, what was that, 15 or 16 sitting judges at one time from one high school, get out of here. You don't have that many from a college. I mean, that is just outstanding.
Mm, mm.
Also, an update. Jalen Martin, overtime elite, declared for the NBA draft.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Good luck, Jay. Good luck. Good luck. I know you got good advice, so that's a good sign.
You know, we did that. Remember, we did that highlight on him, and you could see the difference in his body. How he had, he's a man out there now. You
Yeah.
know, he's so much bigger and stronger. It's just, we wish him well. You know,
Yes.
we wish him well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We got a new segment we want to do. We want to kind of pick something's going on that other people might not know, but I got one. It's called, you ever heard of a program or something they have on the NBA teams called One Bus?
No.
It's a group of guys that travel on one bus to the NBA games. They're members of the team. Basically, they're the guys who don't play a lot. So they all get together and they take them to the bus, they take them to the game early. They do their individual work. They try to get, their work in, before the guys who are playing a lot get in. Everybody has 10, 15 minutes. And if you remember, I was in Cleveland, courtesy of my little brother, there early. Never a big Joel Embiid fan, but I saw him doing his individual workouts. I got all the respect in the world for him.
Wow.
He's putting in work. Now, he's not on that one bus, but when you hear him talk about the guys and how much they work before the game, some of them after the game, and they become like a family because they say they actually spend so much time together riding to the bus, riding to the game, coming back together and stuff. And they say when they go to Miami, they always have a problem because they said the old people dance group is out there in the middle of the floor dancing, and they got to do their work around the choreography that they're putting together. And one of them said when they were in LA that they locked down the room, the locker room, because somebody had got in, had broke in a back door, was shooting a pellet gun, a stun gun, or something, and they had to come arrest him and subdue him before people got in the stadium. They say sometimes it's a little odd.
Mm.
So, but I thought that was interesting. With the
Good.
one bus, and they, as people were saying, you have to read the comments, and people saying, why, how come they, everybody don't go on the same bus? It's not that many of them. Well, those guys are going in early, trying to get their time in, trying to get their work in, because they got to be ready for that one time they get a chance to have that one shining moment.
That's right. That's
you know,
right. You never know.
you,
You could be like Houston back in the day, the college team when they lost to NC State, where Hakeem and Drexler got early foul trouble, and you go into the fourth man off the bench who's just back there chilling, eating popcorn, like Rick, Rick, Rick. Yeah, what's up, coach? Get in the game. I'm like, whoa, whoa, game. Hold my popcorn. Okay, but yeah, I mean, And it's funny. It's funny, Coach. On that same note, that superstars like the late Kobe would get to the gym early to work out. Just like you said, Joel Embiid. You could tell the superstars and the players who really want it
Mm-hmm.
because they get there just as early to work out by
Mm-hmm.
themselves and to do what they have to do, and then work out, of course, with the team when they warm up at the end. But
Right.
you gotta. They're dedicated. They want that.
Well, Kobe's work ethic is legendary, and
Yes.
most people don't like to work out like Kobe works out. I mean, he's a whole different kind of animal right there. The way he gets after it.
Mm.
Did you run across anything interesting there for us, Rick?
Coach, not something that people haven't heard of, but I just found it ironic. We all know that Joe Dumars, the former Detroit Piston guy, is now
That,
executive vice president and head of basketball operations. And he's the one who suspended Draymond Green
mm,
for a game.
okay.
What I thought was ironic is what was the nickname of his team?
Bad boys, yeah.
And look at the team. They had Rodman of all people, who was loonier than a who was one fry short of a Happy Meal, and he's going to suspend. He's going to say that Draymond has gone over the line.
Mm-hmm.
I just found that so ironic that it made me say, "Hmm, that's interesting."
Right, right, right. You
Knowing
got
his
some,
background,
huh?
knowing his background. Now he was the good guy of the bad boys, but still, even Isaiah, he wasn't no angel,
Right,
and he's
right.
going to come down on Dre and say that. I laugh when that tickled me so much, Coach. I'm telling you. I had wifey come in and say, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "This." I said, "This Eep is crazy. Listen to this." And she's a bad boy fan, so she's like, "That's not funny to me." But oh well.
Well, we got Coach Daniels coming up in a few minutes, but I have something here that was sent to me that I'm sure Coach Daniels.
Real Jamal Crawford vibes, I kid you not. Like, she pro ready right now. The sham guys, hang dribble hezzies, she got all that, and she finishing with both hands, left hand float me. Transition tween into the chicken wrap, another tween into the float. Hey, she's really different, bruh. I don't know why Shorty trying to press her like this, but go on, she's out of there. She's no longer in the picture, dime me. Hey, her handles is really something serious, bro. This is not regular. And she got Steph Curry range. It's highly disrespectful you not picking her up from there. Like, she really doing cone drills on the defense. Like, this is extremely light for her.
Cone
Snatch
drills on
hezzy
the defense.
into the split, into the no-look Magic Johnson. Hey, she really one of them ones, bruh. Hey, watch this. Hold on. Chicken wrap, chicken wrap, chicken wrap. How many chicken wraps is she giving out? Chicken wrap. Hop step, fade me. Now you ask yourself, why did she get that girl 4 chicken wrap? Now she at Rucker Park. She doing Rucker Park moves out here. Like, this is too easy. She need to be in the league or something. Chamois tween Bayou Lay. That's very Jamal-like. And this right here is just rude. She got Shorty picking up loose change looking for her glasses. You gonna have to hold 3, sweetie. And she know that's crazy too. No, this one right here is when I knew she was a basketball savant. Cause she just pulled out the Penny Hardaway. She giving Shorty every move out the bag. And Shorty playing good deep, but my last resort is to fade you up. It's really a professional bag. And this when she hopping her Kyrie Team USA bag, splitting all 3 of y'all. And now I want you to count how many defenders it is, cause it's only 4. Cause she put Shorty over there on the ground. She's out of the play.
That dude, a ball his life. He cracks me up. But that woman, that young lady, whoo, she has some handles.
She got some skills, boy. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
she almost handles the ball like I guess Bruce
Uh-oh.
Daniels used to handle it like that. He's at BCU, it's BCC then, but when he used to handle that ball playing over for Coach Cy McLaren, he used to roll it like that.
Oh my
Man,
goodness.
I had to bring something for you now. You know me. I had to bring you something. That's what I do.
Right by accident. I thought I was gonna win because he didn't see me coming. I tried to hit Ray when he wasn't looking. Hey, I thought I got a good shot, but I failed. Something ain't right. On that play, when Rudy's coming, I tried to blindside Ray. He ran me over.
Ooh. Ooh. And Ed Reed just kind of looked like, oh boy. That is crazy. That
Trying to hit him without him seeing me. He said something ain't right.
I tried to blindside him. He ran me over. Oh,
I hit him by accident.
I hit him by accident. That right there was funny. That was funny. Hey, coach. Before we go on, hey, we got another comment on our March Madness series.
Okay.
On our March Madness show rather, and the viewer was talking about Vice First Lady Jill Biden's. Let me read this. Take my glasses off so I can read. Inviting the losing team Iowa to the White House along with LSU. Well, the viewer said, "Hey, she was looking after her own," and then he said, "We as a people need to take note and do more of that." I thought that was kind of deep, Coach.
They said we need to look out for our people.
Yeah.
What you got to say about that?
Well, I agree. I totally agree. We need to look out for our people.
Whoa. I know that voice. Hey. the unseen. What's up, my friend?
What's up?
How you doing, Rick? How you doing, Coach?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Throw a wrench in there.
I agree. My thing is, why would you even, if it wasn't for the PWI that lost, you weren't gonna try to invite LSU as a second place. She ain't know she needs to stay in the lane.
Yeah. Well, I guess she got that.
And that is that.
My guy say, and that is that, huh? So you agree with that too, huh?
Well, we've talked about this, Coach.
Sports Diva, Rick agreeing with me. What's really in that cup?
Up and turns the cup up again. Turns the cup up again. I can't say nothing else about that. Turns that cup up again. Rick.
Hey, Coach, one more thing, man. Did you hear about I know this isn't really a hockey joint, but I love hockey. And we're into the playoffs now. Did you hear about the player who fell on a skate and got cut across his face? It happened in the first period last night. Winnipeg Jets player in a mud pile in front of the daggone goalie. Dude pushed him down. He fell on top of the guy's skate. Got cut. He took more than 75 stitches.
Oh.
And it said more than 75 because they stopped counting after 75. And he was back the next period, playing.
Stitched up, looking like Frankenstein.
Had a big cage over his face. It was, but that's why they're one of the, if not the toughest athletes, the craziest, because you hear stories like that all the time from hockey players.
At least the craziest. at least.
for the unveiling of this beautiful sign. So if you would direct your attention to the big white banner.
Whereas Joe and Elwillie Daniels are pillars of Ormond Beach, having served the local community for more than 5 decades, and whereas Mr. Daniels Joe established a legacy guiding young athletes both on and off the court, from the formation of the Ormond Bruins to numerous positions as a counselor and director of athletic camps and programs. He was a member of the South Ormond Neighborhood Center, the Police Athletic League, Ormond Beach Police Explorers, and Volunteer of the Year for Habitat for Humanity. In 2021, Joe created the first African American community celebration, bringing people together to commemorate the history, culture, and struggles of the African American community. Whereas Mrs. Elwillie Daniels was an office manager of the Bethune-Cookman University and founder of the youth social organization First Impressions. She was the chairperson on the board of directors for the Ormond Neighborhood Child Development Center, where she received the Youth Service Award from the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce. Elwillie was a member of Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church, where she was a deaconess, choir member, and forever known as a woman of grace. Elwillie is served by her loving husband of 61 years, Joe. Their 3 sons, grandchildren, family, and countless friends. Her memory will forever live on through her many contributions and limitless grace. Whereas the Daniels have long served the city of Ormond Beach, both participating in and holding numerous advisory board positions, including being instrumental in establishing and serving on the Ormond Beach Housing Authority. It was one of Mayor Hood's missions to have the SONC named after these 2 amazing individuals. Whereas on July 19, 2022, by unanimous vote, the Ormond Beach City Commission approved renaming the South Ormond Neighborhood Center to the Joe and Elwillie Daniels South Ormond Neighborhood Center in recognition of their significant impact to the community. Now, therefore, I, Bill Partington, Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida, do proclaim March 4th, 2023 as a day to honor Joe and Elwillie Daniels. Please join us. Join the community in naming the Joe and Elwillie Daniels South Ormond Neighborhood Center.
Wow.
And welcome to the show, the legendary point guard from Bethune-Cookman University, used to handle that rock, now leading the Lady Lions at Leon High School, living in the shadow of a famous legendary dad and mom. And then he had to do even better, have a son come up and be a star. Bruce Daniels, welcome to Insights.
Welcome.
Mick and Rick.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. I just didn't want to. I just wanted Rick to hear you say all your appreciations.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what the format is, and I don't want to be out of order, but I have
that ain't
to
gonna
give,
stop you. That ain't gonna stop you.
Yeah. What I want to say to you, Mickey and Rick, I've said this to you privately, Mickey, and I want to say it publicly. Over the years, I've gotten to know you pretty much as a friend. I've watched you as a coach. I watched you as a father. And this platform that you have presented, not only me, but others in the local community, in the surrounding counties, and even on the national circuit, I think it's just awesome how you have put yourself in a position to let the good Lord use you in such a mighty way. Because you are in a position to tell some untold stories. You have been put in a position to tell those who possibly in the archives who will not be heard even from the graves of some of the people who have gone on, who are a great cloud of witnesses to people who are here today. And I just want to commend you on the work that you guys do to continue the legacy of some of those people in many situations people would know about. In fact, you provide me with some information that I didn't even know. And when you said a couple of weeks ago about your coaching legacy, I will, for one, did not know that you were the first coach at Florida A&M University. And I felt embarrassed and insulted because I've been doing all these years and I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So again, Mickey, I don't know what the format is for this program, but I want to get that out before we lost time because I want to commend you and Rick for the work that you guys do. It's commendable, and I hope the Lord continue to bless y'all in a way where y'all can continue doing what you're doing because you're doing a great work. You know, we really appreciate you.
Oh man, thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you, Coach Daniels.
Your words humble me. You know, that's one of the reasons that we started the program, to be able to do that. We felt that there were a number of stories that needed to be told that weren't being told, and when they were getting 60-second sound bites on it. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to be able to capture stories. And it's just interesting, you know, you have been a conduit to different people throughout the community that you've put me in touch with, whose stories we've told. And for those of you, when you can go back, we have a show about Coach Daniels and his son, BJ, and his family. We have that up there. It's showing on Roku and on INSiiGHTS YouTube. You know, we have our INSiiGHTS Roku channel now. And, you know, Coach Daniels has been in position, you know, where we wanted to accentuate some of the things he did. I mean, and his dad did. I mean, it was just in conversation. When you were not going to be here one weekend and we're going out of town. I said, man, where you going? I'm just being nosy. And then he told me the story, Rick, and I was like, you going, what? You get ready to do what? Your dad is getting ready, what's getting ready to happen? I said, oh man, I got chill bumps. You know, just being able to share that walk with your dad and to be there, you know, and to see it, you know, I just had chill bumps. I was just so happy for him to be able to be in that position. To be able to see that, you know, and your dad and your mom, but your mom not here with us. And she was just there with you in spirit and looking at him. I know she was smiling and probably telling him what he needed to wear and not wear, because that's what they do.
That's what they do.
You know, but I appreciate that. Coach, tell us, you know, we just got a little bit from the pictures that you sent us and us doing a little research. Tell us what that meant to you to be there when you went home to see that.
Well, it meant a lot to me. But what was really more important to me is the way they went about doing their business. My mom and dad were the kind of people that were servant. I mean, they epitomized what servant leadership is all about. When I say epitomize, as a servant, you don't do things for fame or glory. You don't do things for accolades. And they handle their business that way. You know, and they were consistent with what they did. They were excellent models for the community. They were consistent. When I say consistent, it wasn't sometimes when they go to meetings, they would consistently go to meetings. Everything they did was consistency. If it was being a member of the church, they were in Sunday school and service every Sunday. If it was going to commissioners meeting, they were going every week. If it was going to the housing authority meeting, anything that they were a part of, they were consistent. And the thing that I was so excited about in terms of being a son, watching all this, there was never a controlling spirit about them. There are some people who are part of organizations and they have bright ideas. And when their ideas are not consumed by the group or the agenda, people tend to get attitudes, get mad. That's not them. That was not them. They had pleasing personalities. My dad had a great sense of humor. My mom was very organized in her efforts and her work, and they were passionate about their work. And more importantly, they cared about people. They were just people. I mean, they just cared about people. they treated everybody in such a way that you just gravitate to them. I mean, what they did in public, they did in private, and they made everybody feel like they were a part of. Where there was no value, they added value to that person.
So that's where you got it from.
Yo, yeah, I got it honest.
Mhm.
I got it honest. I didn't get cheated on my servanthood. I watched them, and that's where it came from. So at the end of the day, I was most proud of me. I mean, the name going up on the building, but it was more important from my Christian perspective. The name went on the building, but I know that the Lord is pleased with their work, and I know that they will continue. My dad is still here. He'll continue to do what he's doing. My mom worked all her life before she died of cancer. She worked her tirelessly. She worked her whole life. And I know that God is pleased with them. And he's pleased with them, and he'll continue to be pleased with them as long as they keep people out front and carry their role as servants. They'll be fine. And that's a legacy I want to have. That's a legacy I want my kids to have. We want to pass that torch. We want to pass that baton, that we're doing the things that we need to do to serve mankind. And that's what I was most excited about in terms of the legacy that my mom left and the legacy that my dad is leaving currently.
Well, how did your kids respond to it?
They were excited. It's not often that people get their names on buildings,
Right.
Because names on buildings outlast all of us.
Mhm.
And this is something that they have said, my kids will always see the name. And like I said to them, and I said to my dad, I said, we had that event on March 4th, and it was all about that minute or two where we had the mayor speaking, we had the city officials speaking. But the thing that's going to be most important is what it's going to do from month to month, year to year, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, 10 years, when that name is still resurrected. Somebody asks, well, who is those people? And how do they get up there? The legacy will ride on, because that's important. And people are questioning, well, how did that happen? Who are those people? And then we have to throw the race part. You want to keep the race out, but you have to put that race part of it. It's Ormond Beach, and you have a person of color who has his name on a building. That's you don't
Rare.
get that kind of opportunity. So the fact that the city felt good enough, or felt that the service worthy that kind of recognition, is awesome. And I think Mayor Potterton and Braley, I mean the mayor, I have Briley and those folks who thought enough of my mom and dad that they thought this honor should be bestowed upon them, because they didn't have to do that. I mean, they could have served and gone on to glory, and nothing would have been said. But the fact that they thought enough of their service to recognize them meant a great deal to me and my kids. And they're excited about that, because they can take their kids back and say, hey, I want to see grandpa's building. Yeah, your dad has a building with his name. Your mom, your grandma has a building with their name on it. So yeah, they were pretty excited about that.
And Rick?
Yeah. For those viewers who aren't familiar with Florida, can you tell us a little bit about Ormond Beach and what kind of city it is? You mentioned that to have it there, and people of color seeing it to get excited. Why is that different? Is there not a lot of blacks there in Ormond Beach? Or
Well,
tell me about that.
yeah, that's true. It's a small community, a small black community, and prideful people. The people that's there, like in most small towns, when you have African Americans in small community, they're the churches. Usually, most folks go to 2 or 3 churches. And Ormond is no different. There's 2 main churches in town. The rec center used to be the primary place for all, as you could imagine. That was a spot. That was all for that. I mean, if you were a student athlete or athlete, Ormond Beach Rec at the time, that's where everybody kind of hung out. And of course, you always have a main street. You have a south side and the north side of town. The south side, the south side is where a lot of people of color live, and the north side would be called Sudan Library, which was divided between the main street with Granada. But those 2 communities messed together, and if you had a softball game on a Friday or Sunday night, everybody in the city would come to those softball games. But it's a city that is wealthy. There's a lot of money in Ormond Beach. It's right by the beach. There's one high school that's near Ormond Beach, Sibley Senior High, and there's one middle school, Ormond Beach Middle High School, and there's about 3 or 4 elementary schools. But it's a small knit community, and again, like I said, 2 or 3 major churches, African American churches, and again, it's a wealthy area. And for my parents to do what they have done, they understood all the dynamics of both sides of the track, on whether it's the white side or the black side. They understand how to relate with all people, and they got along with all people. And so that community is a close knit community. Everybody knows everybody, so it's a typical small town.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. How did that affect you? I know you're coaching now. Is that your way of giving back? Is that your way? Talk about your journey in this.
Well, my journey is pretty simple. As a servant leader, my thing is always to serve, to always serve. In no situations too great, no situations too big or too small. It's always to serve our mankind. And I'm the kind of guy that when everybody's throw a kid in the trash can, I'll be the one next to the trash cans with the recycling bins. I'll be not recycling. I'll be pulling that kid out. I'll be the one to say, hey, I think that kid's special. I think that kid can be somebody. I think that kid has opportunity. At Leon and the way I coach, when I started at Leon, it was never about state titles. It was never about state titles, and that's pretty apparent. It was never about state titles, but it was always about giving to those kids the least of these. It was all about life's journey. It was always about these kids having value, these kids feeling like they have value. And it's always been trying to better the next person in line. It's always been trying to help those. It's always been about, I have plaques and trophies and plaque trophies, but those things never impressed me as much as a kid coming back to me 5 or 6 years from now and say, Coach, when you told me about that situation, I heard you. And now I'm married, and I have a job or whatever. But if it hadn't been for you saying what you said to me on that day, I don't know what I would have done. Those are my rewards. Kids who graduate and go on to college, graduate from high school and go on to college and come back, and they're having a great life or whatever. And I had something to do with it. And sometimes it's painful because sometimes you get blasted, you get criticized, you get ostracized because you have a standard of how you think these kids should live their lives or whatever. And sometimes it's not in line with the parents. The parents may have a different idea how they want to raise their kids. But Leon and the things that I learned from my dad, and it's not so much old school, it's just a standard and it's accountability. And if you can get that, that's kind of what my goal is. Whether I'm working at FAMU, teaching my basketball class, or working at Leon High School, work with young people, that's my operation. So the whole thing, the good news about what Mickey has done and what Mickey's dad has done, past your parents have done, you paid attention to what your parents did. You paid attention. You didn't always get it right every time they asked you to do things, but eventually it came around and you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. That's what they mean. And sometimes they got to bump their head and scrape their knee. And I'm okay with that happening because my best teaching has been when those kids went out there on their own and they fought up for themselves. Hey, he was right about that.
Well, I think that what you have done has been exemplary in terms of following the footsteps. We always say that, a lot of times our kids come back to how they're taught. Sometimes it takes them a while. And our thing has always been, the light will eventually come on because that's all they know. But with the guys, we always hope that that light comes on before they end up in jail or in prison.
Right.
And with the young ladies before they end up with a family too big that they can't hardly handle.
Exactly.
And that's always the thing is that we know the light is going to come on. It's just don't want it to come on too late. And we all have children and grandchildren and, and we see some of the things that we tried to instill in them, but we also have to be patient because we see some of our shortcomings and things, impatience in them.
Right.
So
Right.
it allows you an opportunity
Right.
to grow and to see that. But so your ability to work and your mission with student athletes came a lot from your dad. He started a lot of the programs. Had Vince
Right.
Carter up under his tutelage at one time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he started doing that, and you've done the same thing. You know, very, very active with the young ladies that are in your program and doing
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you look coming in the next year? You know, how's that?
Well, we're going to be a young ball club, and I know coaches use that as kind of a, it's going to sneak up on somebody, and they use youth as an issue. We're going to be young, and we're going to be it's skill development. It's skill development, and it's toughness, and those are the type of things that we're going to be liking that we have to get better at. We're going to always run teams that are going to always be better than us. We're going to always run teams that are going to have a little more than what we have. But I've found over the years that if the kids really want it, they'll work at it. But unfortunately, the way it works now, you can't make kids do stuff anymore. It's got to be competitive. It's got to be fun. It's got to be things that they want to enjoy. They have to want to come to practice. They have to want to be to practice. They have to kind of want that. And that's not anything that coaches of the day, we can always expect the kids to come to practice and want to be there. That day has come and gone. So as a coach, we have to create that. We have to create a lot of that. And once kids find that you care about them, number one, then the X and O's can follow. But once you put X and O's in front of how you care about them, you can't keep them. You won't be able to maintain them. If I make my little young girls think that all I want to do and care about is winning, it won't work. But they have to know that I care about them as people, and that I'm concerned about their life. And I tell them that, this thing's about life. You cannot dribble a basketball ever again after high school, and we're okay. We have some kids who have gone on to college. We got 2 that's going to go this year. But it's not even about that. It's about their life. And so with the kids we have coming next year, I like this group. They're young. You could talk all day about, well, we need more talent. We hope some come in with it. But see, you lose a lot of sleep on that. You work with what you have. You develop what you have. And there's only so much you can develop. Now, I've learned that from Leon. There's only so much development you're going to do. Either you got a couple of horses in there, or no matter what you do, you're going to beat them teams that got more horses. So if you got a couple of kids, 2 or 3 that love it, they'll beat those lucky kids. But if all your kids just like your kids, you can't beat those lovey kids. And unfortunately, when we lose games, we're going to lose a couple of kids that got a couple of kids that love it. And what I mean by love it, they going to practice when we don't practice. They're going to be in the gym. They watch it on TV. We have a hard time competing against those kind of kids. But I like the group we have coming back. I really like these kids. Not a lot of returnees, but they seem to be, working together in terms of doing things together. Most of them playing flag football and doing track right now. So we give them a little time to get away. But I'm excited about this group next year. I don't know how much noise they're going to make. I'm not saying we're going to Lakeland. I'm not saying we're going to beat a lot of teams right here. But I like this group because they seem like they want to be coached.
Well, let me say this. We've already gotten some hits. And when they see this, they'll say, Mickey, why you say that? Coach, what's up with that? They'll say, I don't know if I can watch all that red that's going to be on there today. I don't know if I can watch it.
Yeah,
I got all that red on there. I said, don't hate.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is, man. I hate that. I hate to do it, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Hey, what can you say?
Now, changing the subject a little bit, Coach, I saw the look on your face when you saw that young lady handling that basketball.
Woo! Woo! I hollered. I was like, "Who is that?"
I was like, "Can we get her in the city?"
Man, that NL money coming out of my pocket for her. She ain't got to go get no sponsor. I'm paying for that. That's
she
coming
gets
out
it
my
done.
wallet. Whoa, that's Kyrie, man.
Yeah.
Man. Who is that, Mickey? Who was that?
Hey, but did you hear the guy when he said she's handling the ball like she going through cone drill? And we all work with those cone drills and all of that, and they tell us now, in real life, the chair not just gonna sit there. People reaching and they defending you.
That's
It didn't
right.
mean nothing to her, did it?
Man, that young lady is about how old is she? You know,
I
you know
don't
her
know.
age?
It was a video somebody had sent to me. People send us all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it we can use, some of it we don't. And sometimes we get so much of it, I forget. I mean, we had a clip that about Charles Barkley and about Shaq about managing your money,
Right.
and he said, well, if you get 20 million, he said you don't get but 10. He said his first contract was for 20 million. Said he don't get but 10 by the time FICA and everybody else take their money out. And I'm gonna have to show that one to you because he was talking about how he had bought a house for 3 million and he was looking at cars and vehicles. He said he kept asking how much the vehicle was, and the man asked him, well, old man, well, why you keep asking if you can't afford to buy it? You need to stop asking so many questions. You can't afford it anyways. I said, Shaq bought about 3 Rolls Royces. He said he just wanted to prove a point. He said he don't even like a Rolls, but he said,
Wow.
he said by the time the summer came, he got a phone call from his business manager. Said, man, you spent your whole salary already. Because Shaq was not aware that you only got like half of what that was. So it was just kind of interesting. Early in our show, we would have people come on and do some financial discussions about some of the things these pro athletes have done in terms of their money, and the show that I was on on Atlanta Sports Talk, one of the things they asked about was Marquis Grissom and the story that they had heard us talk about on the show, where Marquis came and talked to our basketball team, and he was telling them that he never touched anything. He never touched the principal. He never touched what his contract was. And so everybody looked at him kind of crazy. And Marquis said, no, he had bought homes for each one of his brothers and sisters. And I hear he had like a large family, like 8 or 9. Each one of them got a house, a car. His mom got a house and a car. And he did everything off his bonus money. So everything that he got in bonus is what he spent and lived on. But his salary, his contract went straight in the bank. So when he stopped playing, he was extremely well off. So it's just, but he had also went to our School of Business and Industry. So he actually had learned a lot in terms of how to handle and how to manage your money. And athletes, not only athletes, we just in general knowledge in terms, and we try to tell people, little things we tell our kids about saving money and what happens, and everybody gets caught up regardless of what the profession is. When they're making a little bit, not used to handling money, you spending it. You don't really see how far or how short-lived that dollar is. We talk now, but we old. We remember gas was less than $1. When it got to $1, we thought it was horrendous. You got to pay $1 for a gallon of gas. People used to give you $1 to take you. You go across town, they give you $1. Now you look at, man, what I'm gonna do with that? What I'm gonna do with that? But Coach, we appreciate you being on and sharing the story.
Can you do me a small favor? Can I ask for you to do me a favor?
Sure, go ahead.
Just real small favor. I need you to do this for me, Mickey, if you don't mind. Before you retire in this business, I would like for you to tell your story. I'd like for you to tell your story. I've asked, as you know, I work at Florida A&M, and I've said to Alvin Hollins, I said to Alan Bogan, I've said to Vaughn Wilson, there's some great stories going to the grave, and we don't get to hear about them. And I think it would be just awesome if Mickey Clayton would tell his story. You told your story to me, but a lot of people just don't know. And through this podcast, you've inserted, as I hear you, you inserted a few things that you've done in your lifetime. And your story is important, and it's a very good one. So before you decide to step down out of that seat that you're sitting in, that you're giving to somebody else, and sometimes encouraged need to be encouraged. I need for you to tell your story, and I need to go because, and again, I know I'm graduating from Bethune-Cookman, but there's some great stories on Florida A&M's campus, and those stories are going, to the grave, to the cemetery. And Mickey, before you get off this air, You know, when you decide you gonna shut it down, tell your story, man. Tell your story. You got a great one. I mean, your story is powerful. Your story is a story that people wouldn't even know, they wouldn't even imagine. And a little bit that you share with me, if you don't mind, that's how you gonna pay me for being on this podcast, by you telling your story. Can you do that? Can you promise
Boy,
you
you
gonna do
should
that?
put a man on the spot on live on my show. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, tell your
let
story,
me
brother.
let me say this. We Miss Hill and I, Sarah Hill, who first women's athletic director of Florida A&M, we have been working on a documentary on how women's athletics started at Florida A&M in the early days. And we have started working on that for that very same reason. Not so much about me, but about some of the things that have happened that people don't know.
Right.
You know, you look at women's athletics now
Right.
and you think that it's always been that way, but it wasn't.
Right.
And when we first started,
Right.
it was like the first days of integration when they moved us from the black high schools to the PWI high schools. I mean, when we started women's athletics, it was a hated compartment of athletics because everybody thought the money was going from football to support women's softball, women's basketball, women's volleyball. And there were some battles. And, you know, we just did a piece the other day and talked about the NCAA didn't even want anything to do with women's athletics. Women's governing body was the AIAW. And the NCAA saw how AIAW was drawing so many people that they said, you know what, this might be a revenue stream that we're not involved with. We need to get our hands on it. And we look at it now, and the largest game ever seen was the women's contest. And the women in the AIAW constructed their rules based on all the craziness that was going on in the NCAA, that they didn't want the women's sport programs to go down that road. And if you look now, the women not letting them go to the WNBA is allowing the women's college programs to grow, because you now see Caitlin Clark, you now see Angela Reese. I mean, they identified with schools. So now next year, you got some kids that you want to see play, that you saw play. You get to see them play. And in college now, they come out so quick, be it right or wrong, that the college programs don't grow. But Bruce, I do appreciate what you said. I see Rick over there co-signing.
It's come up before. It's come up before. That's all I'm saying.
But I hear you, Fred. You know, there are some things that we have to say that we want to share with people. And in doing this and shining a light on what we're doing is never about me. It's about the people that we interview and giving them a chance to tell their story, to talk about the things that they did. Because, you know, Coach, people see you, but they don't really see you. They don't know the journey. They don't know what you went through. They just see you now.
Right.
And there's a lot of successful people that were put out of school, that got in trouble, that did some things, and now you look at them and they're doing good. And conversely, you've seen some that were doing well and hit rock bottom. So it could happen to anybody. You know, it's just so many things that can happen. And we look at people, we don't know their story. So we try to provide an avenue and an opportunity for them to tell their story, and for people to know that, you know, he resurrected himself from the dead. I mean, as the angels say, we talked about after the Easter, that show we had said, why are you looking for the living among the dead? You know, that thing just resonated with me. But it's just so much there, Coach. And I appreciate what you're saying. And people that I know, that I talk to, they'll say, man, I've known you a long time and I never knew that. I said, we don't really talk about it. You know, Rick, long as I've known him, I mean, and he's been around through some situations. We'll start talking. He said, Coach, I didn't know that. You know, you just carry your cross and you keep on, you know. But we also try to teach our children to fight through adversity, you know, not to let it get to you, not to let it wear on you, not to get caught up with the craziness that people say, but also to let your Savior be your guide.
Right.
You know, let that be the person that lets you know who you need to trust in, because they turned on Jesus and he performed miracles. You know, common man, that none of us have ever performed a miracle, so we would expect him to turn on us. But he split the Red Sea. He did, and they turned on him. So we're mere mortals. But I hear you, Bruce, loud and clear.
All right, brother.
I hear
Counting
you
on
loud
you.
and clear. I hear you, Capo.
Counting on you, brother. Counting on
Yo. You better tell him, Frat. You better tell him, Frat. You better tell him.
There you go with that clip. You know, we're coming towards the end. Coach, we appreciate you. You could stay on with us. We're gonna do a segment here that Rick did and come right back. But you're more than welcome to close out the show with us, Fred. If you come back and you're gone, we understand. You're always welcome here.
No, hey man, thanks. The presentation you did with my dad at the beginning is heartfelt. I could tell you really put your hands over it. For a minute there, I thought you was my stepbrother for a minute there because we put so much into it. I was like, man, this dude really, it's almost like it was your dad. I said, man, you really put your touch on it. You put your journalism, the way you set that up was awesome. And we're gonna cherish this video for a long time. My dad's out of Vegas tonight, so I'm not sure he has a chance to see it. But now this, it's recorded. He can see it. And again, you guys did a fantastic job. And again, Mickey, I'm counting you to tell your story, because nobody can tell your story like you can tell it. So I'm counting you now. I ain't gonna let you off the hook.
Rick, I see that look.
Rick, don't let him off. Rick, don't let him off the hook, man.
I just need people to thank you.
Yeah, don't let him off the hook.
I
will keep
appreciate
on.
y'all, and I love y'all.
Yeah, brother.
While there are some people whose body of work is so grand, it is impossible to list all of their accomplishments. On today's Remembering the Legends, we shine a spotlight on one such individual. Today, we remember Hall of Famer and longtime Winston-Salem State basketball coach, Clarence Big House Gaines. Clarence Edward Gaines was born May 21st, 1923 in Paducah, Kentucky. At 6'3", Gaines was a true student athlete. He played basketball, was an all-state football player, played in the band, and was salutatorian in the class of 1941. Gaines went to Morgan State on a football scholarship, where the 350-pounder earned his nickname, Big House, when someone said he was as big as a house. The name stuck in more ways than one would imagine. While at Morgan State, Gaines was a 4-time CIAA selection and 2-time All-American.
That's cool.
Gaines was going to go to dental school following college, but was convinced to become a coach. A great decision. He started as an assistant at Morgan State before moving on to coach basketball and football at small Winston-Salem State in North Carolina, which started a 47-year career. He had success in both sports. In 3 years as a football coach, Gaines was named CIAA Coach of the Year after an 8-1 season in 1948. He stopped coaching football after the 1949 season to concentrate just on basketball. This is where the legend grew. Gaines' teams won 12 CIAA titles, and he was named CIAA Coach of the Year 5 times. In 1967, with the great the Pearl Monroe, the Rams won the Division II College Division National Championship. They were the first HBCU school to win an NCAA National Championship. and Gaines that year was named Division Coach of the Year. The Rams were going to win 20 games at least 18 times under Gaines, who was also the school's athletic director for some time. He was respected so much, he was named CIAA president for 4 years and was part of the U.S. Olympic Basketball Committee. When he retired following the 1993 season, Gaines had led his teams to 828 wins. Only Adolph Rupp had more wins when he retired. His wins today would still rank 11th overall. Gaines died April 18th, 2005, but the legacy of Big House lives on. His hometown has a monument of Big House, and Clarence Gaines Street is also located in his hometown. He is a member of the CIA Hall of Fame, North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame, the College Basketball Hall of Fame, and was the first black coach to be inducted to the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
Because I didn't know what
the men's college basketball coach of the year award in Division II and Division I is known as the Clarence Big House Gaines Award. His numbers and accomplishments are Hall of Fame worthy, but his impact on the lives of hundreds, if not thousands of students and athletes, as well as helping put Winston-Salem State on the map, is what makes Clarence Big House Gaines a legend. Prior to the 1940s, like most of the United States itself, professional sports were segregated. And while many know of the Negro Leagues and how baseball eventually embraced the history of blacks in the Negro Leagues, how many of you have heard of the Black Fives? Today?
Oh yeah, it's coming, y'all. That's magazine, the Black Five. But also, we got the celebrity basketball game coming up. We got Coach Willie Simmons playing, Superintendent Rocky Hanna, Judge Tiffany Baker, Christian Cabin, Leon County Commissioner District 2, Marcus Nicholas, School Board Rep, Darius Dr. D. Baker, Travis Norton, Lanitra Bennett, WCTV, Allison Posey, the most active sports director we've had in a long time. And the sheriff department gonna have a couple people. So we got the game that's coming. Y'all need to come. If you're not going to watch it, you can't get there, we'll have it on live stream. Starts at 6:30 Friday at NIMS. We'll be on the air at 6 live streaming it. Because, you know, if you ever been to a celebrity game, man, the way the game starts, you could tell a lot just going through warm-up. So we already know that that's going to be a little special, right? Yeah. With those people in it. So it's going to be pretty good. My money right now on Allison Posey. Don't play with it if you want to. My money on Allison. So we got a lot going on. INSiiGHTS YouTube. INSiiGHTS everywhere. Be a part. Be a part.
Subscribe.
Sports Diva. Sports Diva. Oh, boy.
It's just the Kappa in me. Da-da. No. No, that was fun.
With Coach. I mean, with Bruce. That was
yeah.
That was a good piece he did.
And growing up, everything his mom and dad did, and you could tell how much they were cherished in that community. It's hard growing up, and you would know this, Coach. I mean, it's hard growing up after a legend, following in a legend's footsteps, because you're trying to make your own way, but you want to make them proud. Wow, wow, and you guys have done a great job. So kudos to you, to Coach Bruce, as well.
Well, thank you, sir. You know, I heard those FAMU stories all my life growing up. I didn't think they were true. I thought it was a dad that was just exaggerating the story. How you win a championship game, you losing till everybody files out you only have but 4 players on the floor, you come back and win. I'm like, who would think that that happened for real? You know, who thought that that was real? You know, and you talk about the kids, and hey, and he taped himself. He's been INSiiGHTS trained. INSiiGHTS trained. Wanna know why he can't interview do his own interviews? He got it all on slow motion.
Man, look how tall he's getting. Oh my goodness! Look at those arms, man. His arms to his knees.
That's my little future athlete there.
That look right there.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Rick,
Yes,
I appreciate you getting out there. Look at y'all, Rick with his fingerprints all over stuff. That's Rick Brown, the man about town. That's Rick. Appreciate you, Rick.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thanks a lot, man, for everything.
Oh man, you the man. We that Rick Brown, School of Journalism, y'all. J
Hey.
School.
Fam, you J School.
Stay up to date with the latest from INSiiGHTS. Visit our website at INSiiGHTS.com. 2 eyes in the middle. INSiiGHTS.
INSiiGHTS is a copyright of Mac4 Enterprises, a Florida corporation. This broadcast is produced under the exclusive ownership of Mac4 Enterprises. It is the intellectual property and trademark of Mac4 Enterprises. Comments of the host and other individual speakers on INSiiGHTS represent their independent thoughts and representation.
You already know.
You already know. You better tell him, Rick. You better tell him.
Yes, it's time.
Look at him.
Good night.
INSiiGHTS, YouTube, INSiiGHTS Roku. You can go to INSiiGHTS.com. INSiiGHTS.
2 eyes in the middle.
In the middle. INSiiGHTS. We'll be back next week. Another show.